What's going on, everybody? What's up? What's up? Let me actually put the camera a little bit closer because that's how we do things here. There we go. What's happening, everybody? Sorry, I was on another call, and I do apologize for the slight delay there. But we're here. What's up? Welcome to the Marketing Atlas Show. Hope that you guys are doing amazingly well. We're going live on a bunch of places. We're going live on the YouTubes. We're going live on the Twitchs. We're also going live on the Facebooks. But if you have questions, if you want me to answer your marketing, digital advertising questions, and all of that good stuff, head over to marketingatlasshow.com. marketingatlasshow.com. I will be more than happy to help you guys out with everything and anything that has to do with advertising, with marketing, and all of that good stuff. So here we are. We're live. We're good to go. And everything, it's looking good. All right, guys, what's up? Welcome. Today's the 12th of August. And you know what? I forgot about, episode 25. So we're 25 weeks in this awesome marketing episode, and it's free. It's completely free. And it's pretty cool to have you guys here. So the main goal of these episodes, if you have been here for a while, thank you. If you're new here, thank you for joining me. But the main goal of this show is to actually answer all of your marketing and advertising questions. And the reason why I'm doing this is really simple. And this applies to pretty much any type of business out there, okay? The reason why we're doing this, and the reason why I've been doing some similar format with my other company, which is Semantic Mastery, the reason why we have been doing this, why we've been putting the effort, the time, and everything of putting out content out there is really simple. It's because this works. And this works to sell more of your product, more of your service, more of your software company, whatever it is that you're doing. Basically, putting out content works, and really, really helpful content works the best. Now, I don't know if you guys have read the book Influence by Robert Cialdini. It's an awesome book about how humans operate, okay? Great book. It was originally written for academia. So Robert Cialdini, he's an anthropologist, and the book that he wrote, he was originally intended for academia, meaning for people that are scientists and they do intelligent things and all of that. Much more smart people, way smarter people than I am. So these guys, they know what they're doing. So Robert Cialdini, he went ahead and he compiled a list of, I think it's 8 or 10 principles that rule human behavior, right? So that's the whole deal when it comes to his book. What principles rule human behavior? Now, the funny story, and he will tell you guys that, he will tell you that in his other book, which is called Persuasion, which is also pretty good, but I really like Influence better. And what happened is that he will tell you in Persuasion, which is his second book, he says something like this. Listen, I wrote this book for all of these awesome, super smart people like scientifics and anthropologists and sociologists and all of these awesome guys. And they didn't read it for some reason. It didn't work as well for some reason. But it really caught the attention of this rough bunch of people, this kind of weird group of people that you should avoid, which are called marketers. Okay, you should be avoiding them at all costs. It caught their eye, it caught their attention. So basically, he wrote this book for academia, and it blew up in the marketing space. And the reason why is because we, as marketers, can really go ahead and really take and make a lot of use of this book. So it's an anthropology book. It's written for academia, so it's using a lot of hard language, tough language, really, really hard words, long words, more than 5 letters or six letters, and all of that. But it's really cool. So I do recommend that you read it. Now, to the point is that the reason why your company, somebody in your team, maybe hire somebody, whoever that is, wants to put out content that really helps people out is because basically 2 of those 10 principles, I think it's 10 or maybe 8, but there's basically 2 principles that you really want to pay attention to. The first principle, which is the principle that I love the most, and that's one of the reasons why I've been putting out content on my YouTube channel for the past 5+ years. I have my free Facebook group. I do this every week. And one of the reasons why I put out content as frequent as I do is because of the principle of reciprocity. Okay. Now, Tony Robbins, I was fortunate enough and blessed enough to listen to Tony speak at Fun Hacking Live 2020 and 2019. So, no, sorry, 2020 and 2018 in Orlando, Florida. And he was saying, hey, dudes, listen, I am Tony Robbins. I'm a big deal. And he's a big deal. He's a big dude, but he's also a big deal. And he was saying something like this. You can right now drop my name in the middle of the Sahara Desert, and you can fill out an entire stadium with people just by saying Tony Robbins is going to be here. And the reason why is because I've been putting out content, I've been putting out goodwill in the marketplace for the past 20 plus years. Okay? So the principle of reciprocity works the following. It's, it goes back where we were, building, living in tribes and all of that. And what happened is that we are social animals. We need to help each other to survive. So if you would go out there and we would be in the same tribe, and if you would go out there and you would have a great day of hunting, and then I would go out there and we have a really poor day of hunting, the reality is that you would share part of your hunt with me, part of your gathering with me, with the purpose of me tomorrow going out there and having a great day of hunting, and then maybe tomorrow you have a really poor day of hunting, and I would reciprocate that favor, So it's like being helpful, and we're not doing this from the perspective of, oh yeah, I'm going to be cunning, I'm going to be super helpful with people, and I'm going to show them what to do, how to do stuff for free, so that, they can then at some point be super, they want to reciprocate to me, and then my evil plan will take shape. It's not like that. It's like human behavior, human nature, right? If you're cool to somebody, if you make a favor to somebody, then there's a high chance that that person will be enticed to give that favor back to you. That's called reciprocity. So from a business perspective, from a marketing perspective, from a strategy perspective, what happens is that when your company is effectively out there, going out there, creating content, putting out content, social media, maybe a lead magnet, that's the whole purpose behind a lead magnet. You give something away for free in exchange of an email, and then that forms a relationship. So that thing alone can help you achieving more success with your company. It can help you getting more customers. It can help you getting more revenue. And specifically when it comes to the info product space, right? Like some people are saying, well, if I go out there and start sharing my secrets, nobody will buy from me. And that's BS. That's head trash, okay? Again, I'm doing this because it works. It basically works. And I'm telling you, hey, listen, if you're not putting out content, that's one of the best ways to actually advertise, advertise your best content. That's the best advice that I can give you. That is the first principle, the principle of reciprocity. The second principle, which is also really interesting, is the principle of authority. So, back in the day when we were living in caves, there was a leader, right? A leader of the pack or a leader of the tribe or whatever. And that leader usually came out of physical prowess, physical strength, right? Who would jump higher, who would run the faster, who would hit the harder. Right? So those people were considered leaders. Well, guess what? We're not living in tribes anymore. Things have evolved, luckily for us. And now there are different types of leaderships. You have moral leaderships, right? A pastor of a church. They might not have physical leadership or physical authority rather, but they have the moral authority, okay? Or maybe a teacher back in the day, back in school. Like why would you respect your teacher where you were like 17 years old and you were stronger, maybe leaner, maybe more good looking than your teacher? Why would you? Because they had the moral authority or the knowledge authority, which is another option, right? So there's a lot of these other authorities, right, and that right now are happening in our space, right? And that is something that you tap into when you're putting out content. So basically, it's like saying, well, I'm going to do business with this person. I'm going to buy from this company because they seem to know what they're doing. And I'm not talking about those contents that you can see, maybe, Lamborghini type of content or advertising when, somebody will show you the experience of driving a Lamborghini, something like that. No, Lamborghini has been around for a while. They've been putting out content and goodwill in the marketplace for a long time. That's why now they can get away with just like, hey, come on in, it's a Lamborghini. And that's all they need to do on their marketing for you to go buy a Lamborghini or for you to actually want a Lamborghini. So they're tied to authority, right? They're tied to authority. They're using, for instance, right now, Richard Mille, which is, a brand watch that I like a lot. It's being used by some artists. It's being used by some influencers. It's being used by some high level people from sports, like Rafael Nadal, for instance, or in tennis, or Lionel Messi, when it comes to football and soccer and all of that. So they're being used, and they are tied to that authority figure, right? So they're pretty expensive watches as well. So that's tying back to the principle of authority. And guess what? You can carve your authority by actually putting out good content. And it doesn't take much, and I'm just talking to a camera, to a mic. As you can see, this is a mic, and it's not fancy. I don't have a fancy setup. I'm not a camera person by any stretch of the imagination. But you can do this as well as I can, and you can actually get really good results. And some people are asking about my background. This is a whiteboard that I got for like $20, and this is like a piece of cloth that I got for another $20. So there you have it. You can spend $100 and you can get yourself a decent setup to actually start putting out content. So that's all there is to it. There's nothing more to it. All you need to do is to decide to put out content. And also, I do recommend that you pick the book Influenced by Robert Cialdini, because it's really good. I think that it will help your business big time. And it has really interesting facts about how we human behaves and how we cunning marketers are kind of trying to make your life harder to actually exploiting, quote unquote. It's always funny, exploiting, quote unquote, this type of things that human race does. Okay, cool. So let's hop into some questions right here. And I hope that this is helpful, by the way. And by the way, if you have any marketing, advertising, funnels questions, go to marketingatlasshow.com. That is marketingatlasshow.com to actually ask your questions. And as usual, we have my man Arman here with the growth of an agency. Let's see. So in this case, I answered to him last week, I think it was, what were the keys, in your opinion, that helped an 8-figure agency that we're working with last year to break those 8 figures? And basically, I talked about how, we went from 7 figures to 8 figures and whatnot, and what takes a company to go from 7 figures to 8 figures. And basically, and now, Armand has another question, which is, great response last time about the keys to the growth of an agency. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, you mentioned when doing marketing, you use helpful content, case studies, webinars, and PDFs. What worked the best and why? And that's actually a great, that's not what I wanted to do. That's actually a great question, Romana. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you this, okay? We tested a decent amount of funnels. I think we tested like a PDF, a free PDF, and then our sales guys will call everyone that download the PDF. We tested a book funnel. So you know how a book funnel works. We talked about book funnels several times. We tested a webinar funnel that worked really well. But I think that one of the best things that we set out to do with that agency was actually putting out content, funny enough, putting out content and then retargeting those people with a webinar funnel. So it was a webinar / case study funnel. So it was a webinar funnel. It wasn't like the proverbial webinar funnel where you just click a link or click the button, you will put in your details and then you will select a date, the proverbial evergreen webinar. It was most like an on-demand class. And by on-demand class, I mean, it's like, it was basically a landing page and then with a headline and a button. And then people will click on there, they will put their name, email, phone number, and then the next page they will be watching the video recording of the webinar right away. And then at some point where we were pitching them in the agency, an application form will pop up at the bottom. So we'll discover an application form and they can submit an application, and then somebody in our team will call them and they could scale right there. They will schedule right there on the thank you page, right? So it's a really simple funnel, 2-3 step funnel. But I think that the most important thing that we did, which actually kind of, it was actually a game changer, was the fact that we were putting out content, okay? So the way it worked, it was really simple. So let me go to the high-tech dashboard that I have here, or the high-tech whiteboard that I have here. And it was really easy, actually. It was pretty simple. It wasn't easy, but it was pretty simple. So what we would do, and this is basically, guys, if you have a business-to-business type of deal, like whatever it is, a service-based company, a software, a product that serves other businesses, this is what you want to do, okay? Specifically when it comes to social media ads. So we were doing this. So we were putting out helpful content, okay? Helpful content in the shape, in the format of videos, okay? So we were putting out videos both on Facebook and on Instagram. Okay, so Facebook and IG, we're putting out helpful content. Now, these helpful contents are like the usual talking head videos with a headline and some captions at the bottom. That's the type of content that we were putting out. That was basically it, the type of content that we were putting out. So we were putting out helpful content on Facebook and Instagram, and we will advertise this content to our ideal demographic, to our ideal audience, which in this case were small business owners, right? So we would advertise this to small business owners, and we will have several other interests in our social media ads and all of that. So this was the step one. So consider this as step one. And what happened is that when somebody consumed our content after step one, they will be retargeted in Facebook or Instagram with two things. Number one, more helpful content. And the reason why is because usually when it comes to small business owners and B2B in general, nobody buys the first thing. Nobody buys the first time around. If you're targeting other businesses, specifically on social media, and this approach is, this pretty much happens to everything, is that you need to build that relationship, right? You really need to build that relationship for people to know, like, and trust you, and then decide to do business with you. And usually you will have more than one competitor. So people should say, hey, why should I trust you with my hard-earned money if I can go to your competitor? So this thing right here kind of like filtered them out through the process, right? So we will put additional content, like helpful content, and then we will show them also call to actions, which in this case would be a webinar. Okay? So we will be a webinar / case study funnel. Now, this was the last step of the equation right here. The first equation, and I think that it was the game changer, was this. Now, this is also important, okay? Just because people are watching one video of you, they're consuming a piece of content of you, that doesn't mean that they'll want to do business with you, okay? There's more than enough content to go around, like, several, times that you could consume the content that is being put out in a day in like several lifetimes. So just consuming one piece of content right now is not enough. What you want to do is to add another layer of content which is helpful, and it's actually helping people achieve what they want to achieve. So this is another good idea. This is definitely a game changer. And then for people that are consuming these content pieces, you want to show them call to actions. You want to show them, in this case would be a webinar and a case study. Now, let me put a little bit of an example how big of a game changer this was. At some point, we sit down and we decide to analyze our results when it comes to growth of the agency, right? And we were spending a decent amount of money. We were spending around $200,000 to $300,000 a month on advertising, give or take, at some point at the peak of the agency. And what happened is that, and I was in charge of running all of this, by the way. So I was like putting out, not the content production, but pretty much everything else. And we sat down and we did some numbers. And the funny thing that happened is that we realized that when we run cold direct response traffic to the same funnel, meaning this interest right here, right? Like people that haven't been through this process, but actually cold direct response type of funnels and all of that, we were paying around $50 per lead, $50 per application rather, not $50 for a lead on the webinar, but $50 per application, $50 for somebody to get for us to get an application from somebody. Now, after all of this process, because you're spending money here, and you're also spending money here, we were paying around $150 per application, right? Now, of course, our sales guys will call everyone. They will call these guys right here, and they will also call these guys from the, from the agency. Now, we made the numbers, and out of the direct response approach that we had when running advertising, we say, hey, we just need to go all in on here, right? Because, hey, listen, we're paying a third per lead. Well, it turned out that we were wrong, because we were paying a third per lead. But let's say, I don't remember the straight up conversion rate called to sell, like people that were being called, like that our salespeople were calling them and we were closing them. I think there was like 1 in 20 here. So it was like a 5% conversion rate, 1 in 20. So 1 in 20 applications 5% conversion rate will actually become a client. Here was closer to 1 in 3 or 1 in 4, so we would call 1 out of these 4 applications will become a client, 1 out of these 20 applications will become a client. So if we do some quick math, it was costing us around $2,000 to acquire a customer here, and it was costing us around $900 to acquire a customer here, okay? Or rather $600 to acquire a customer here, right? So this is because, and this took longer, by the way. This process right here took longer, but that is the power of indoctrination. That is the power that this can give you, specifically if you're running for business to business. Again, this could be run like that. This like this. This could be run like this for for other business to consumer type of deals. It could be run for whatever. But I know that for a fact that business to business that works. It does work. And this is I'm starting to work with some business to business SaaS, and this is basically what I'm advising them to do, and this is what we're putting together for them. So it's pretty cool to see this happen, and it's not just because the cost per lead it was cool, but also because of the findings that we understood, that we knew that were working really, really well when it came to advertising the agency and growing that digital marketing agency. Okay, cool. So I hope that this was helpful. I don't see any more questions, guys. So thank you for joining me for a little bit. I hope that this was helpful to you. If you have additional questions over the next couple of days, feel free to drop them in marketingatlasshow.com. That is marketingatlasshow.com. Have an amazing rest of your week, everybody. Hope to see you guys really, really soon.